Hello and welcome. My name is Christina Winstead and I'm the Program Associate for Outreach here at the Washington Student Achievement Council. Today we'll be talking about navigating the FAFSA with the IRS Data Retrieval Tool outage that we are currently experiencing. We're going to learn about the data retrieval tool itself, so what is it? We're going to learn how to get those 2015 taxes for those who haven't filed their FAFSA already, how to support filers who are selected for verification, as well as how to request a tax transcript in that process. So the IRS Data Retrieval Tool, what it is it's an electronic transfer of information from the IRS into the FAFSA. So instead of manually putting in information, people were able to connect that information from the IRS and have it imported into the FAFSA. It first started in 2009-2010 during that financial aid year, so it's been around for a while. And what the IRS Data Retrieval Tool does is it reduces the chances for being selected for verification because they are getting that information directly from the IRS. So it's reducing verification numbers. Now, of course, the challenge we're currently experiencing is that the IRS Data Retrieval Tool is currently not available and most likely won't return until the next FAFSA cycle in October of 2017. So while this tool is out, we're going to make sure that we are following the processes to get that information entered in manually. So this is what it looks like on the website. They'll ask you if you want to proceed to the IRS site. This is still up right now, and then once the student logs in or the FAFSA applicant logs in, it'll tell them the tool is down. So they're just going to be skipping it at this point in time. But I just wanted you guys to see what it looks like on the FAFSA. So a big question I'm getting from students right now and families is, can I still file my 2017-2018 FAFSA? And the answer is yes. Please, please, please file that FAFSA. We want to make sure that you have an opportunity to get those funds for your post-secondary options. And so if you're planning to go to college in the 2017-18 school year, which is next year, you're going to want to file that FAFSA as soon as possible. You're going to follow the deadlines of the colleges you're applying to as well, and you can put 10 colleges on that FAFSA. So please make sure that you're filing your FAFSA as soon as possible. Now, some people also ask, why the 2017-18? Isn't it 2016-17 school year right now? And yes, it is. But if the student is going to college next year, they will be attending college in the 2017-18 FAFSA. So that's the year that they'll be applying for. So they want to make sure they're applying for the correct FAFSA year as well. What do you need to file your 2017-18 FAFSA? You're going to need a driver's license or a state ID. You'll need your income information, and this includes bank statements, a W-2, or a pay stub, or the best would be your 2015 tax return. If you're a student who is under 24 and you're considered dependent, you're going to need your parents' information as well, and your parents also going to have to participate in this process. Your parents' information will include their 2015 tax returns and additional information such as child support payments or statements, TANF information, real estate investments, family business information or farm info, and then they'll also need to know how much cash savings and checking they have in their account. So how much they have in cash, how much they have in savings and checking. They will ask those on the FAFSA as well. Also, to sign the FAFSA, both the student and the parent are going to need to get an FSA ID, and that is the ID that makes sure the information is secure and is also the way to sign the FAFSA. So a big question we're getting is, what if I can't find those 2015 taxes? 2015 was a long time ago. We completely understand. There are several ways you can go about getting this information to fill out the FAFSA. Number one, if someone had prepared your taxes for you, you might be able to get a copy through them. So if you went through H&R Block online, then you're able to go back and get previous year's taxes that way. Same with other companies you might file with. If you filed yourself and didn't file with the assistance of a company, the easiest way to get your information for the FAFSA would be to request a tax transcript. And I am super frugal, so I want to make sure you know about the free resources first, and that tax transcript is free. It does take up to 10 business days, and the record that you'll be requesting is a return. It's a combination of the return transcript and account transcript, which we will be talking more about very shortly, but the one you'll be requesting is the record of account. You can use IRS Form 4506-T, which we will also be talking about, and it can take, like I said, up to 10 business days. If you need an actual copy of your tax return, you won't need this for the FAFSA, but if for some reason you need that full copy of your tax return, you can get your tax return, a Xerox copy of it, as far back as 6 years ago. It is $50 per copy, and you have to complete IRS Form 4506. This can take up to 75 calendar days, so that's only if you need it for your own records. You won't need that for the FAFSA. What you will need for the FAFSA is a record of account, and you'll need your 2015 record of account. So when you're going into the FAFSA, so you've got all your information and you're ready to fill it out, you're going to want to manually enter in that tax information. So if available, you can use your 1040EZ, 1040A, or 1040, and the FAFSA actually offers line-by-line help with that process of what information you should be putting into what lines. You just hover over the question marks and it'll tell you what you should be putting in there. If it's a FAFSA renewal, so maybe it's your second year applying for the FAFSA, which is great. We want to make sure students apply for the FAFSA every year that they're going to college. You can copy some of your information from last year's FAFSA into this one. And in a pinch, you can use your 2015 W-2s to estimate your adjusted gross income, your income tax, etc., to be able to put that information in. But make sure that if you are using your W-2s and not your actual taxes, that you follow up and put the actual information in from your taxes after you've received those, because we do know it takes 10 days to receive those from the IRS, from that tax transcript. Be careful as you manually enter this information in and double check it, because accuracy is key in making sure that your award is calculated correctly. So if you need a copy of that full tax return, like I said, that $50 one, you typically will not need that, but if you want it for your own records, this is the form you're going to use. It's Form 4506. This form can only be mailed, as well as, it looks like actually you can actually fax it in as well. So you can fax or mail it, but you can't do it online like the other tax transcripts. So this is for the full form. So one thing you're going to hear from students, or maybe yourself if you've been selected for verification, is verification. What is it? Why was I selected? I know when I was selected back in college, I thought I had done something wrong, and I was upset that maybe I had messed up something. But it can be, you can be selected randomly, you can be selected for errors. There's a lot of reasons. When a student is selected for verification, the most important thing to remember is that they cannot receive their award until the supplemental documentation has been submitted with their verification form. So they will not be considered for their financial aid award until they finish this process. So verification is what happens when students or parents need to submit additional information to verify the accuracy of the information they inputted into the FAFSA. The most common thing that triggers this is income verification. So they're selecting, they want to know that the income does match. When selected for verification of income, the acceptable documentation is the IRS tax transcript, and we're going to talk more about that very shortly. You can get that in several ways, and what happens is if we had processed, if you've done your FAFSA earlier and you've been selected for verification, then you'll be following this process to fill out the verification forms. If you completed it through the IRS Data Retrieval Tool earlier in the year when it was up, your verification chances are lower, so you may not be experiencing this right now, but students are randomly selected as well. You can order your tax transcripts, which we'll talk more about, online or over the phone, or you can fax information in. They are finding that the easiest way right now for students is faxing the information into the IRS, the Form 4506T. So when you're ordering your tax transcript, there's going to be several different types of transcripts you can order. So there's going to be a return transcript, and that includes most of the line items that was filed in your tax return to the IRS. You can get an account transcript, which contains information on the financial status of the account, so if you've made payments, and that's not one that you're typically going to need. The record of account is the one I most encourage because it provides the most detailed of the tax transcripts. It's a combination of your return transcript and an account transcript. So that's the most comprehensive, and so we encourage you to request, if you need records, a record of account. Now, some students who are selected for verification will be, they'll be asked to submit a letter of non-filing proving that they did not file taxes that year. We want to make sure that students are requesting these in a timely fashion, and they'll need to request these through their tax transcript as well. If a student was selected for verification and they need to show their income verification for their parents, and maybe they need a record of non-filing. Those are two different, it's the same form, but you have to submit a form for every type of tax transcript that you are requesting. So only one tax form per request is really key, because I've had students who have sent in with all the requests on there, the different forms, and they've gotten it back without the initial request because they've requested too many. You can request online, so this is the website here at the IRS where you can request online through mail or over a fax or phone how to get these tax transcripts. They typically arrive between 5 and 10 business days. It says calendar days, but we're finding it's more of the business days to get these out to you, which really isn't too horribly long compared to the 75 days a full tax form would take you. Now, if you are ordering the tax transcript online, there might be some barriers because they ask for a lot of information to be able to verify your identity. They're going to want your first and last name. They want your tax filing address, and it has to exactly match the address you had in your IRS taxes. So you want to make sure that this is a big one for people because they're going to enter it exactly as it was on the taxes, so that's what they're trying to match it to. They're going to need your social security number, your tax filing status, one of the following, either credit card, a mortgage number, a home equity loan, or an auto loan number. And then they'll also need a mobile phone number with the account in his or her name and an email address. So all of those things can be kind of a barrier for students to be able to access the online form, and that's what we were finding is that it's a big challenge to be able to get all those things together in order to order online. So instead, we are encouraging students to go ahead and go online and print up tax form 4506-T. Now, I also encourage counselors to have some of these on hand for their students. And they can either mail the form, but if they want to go quicker, they can actually fax that information. So they're going to fax that. Now, your students are going to ask what's a fax machine, because when was the last time we've used fax machines? So we have some ways to help them with that process. But if you have access to a fax at your school, that would be wonderful if you were able to find out what the policy is on faxing stuff out for students. So this is the form itself. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's only a one-page form. The section I want you to focus on is the middle section here where it talks about the type of tax transcript requested. So you can only select one of the types when requesting your records. If you are, of course, getting that verification of non-filing that you need, it's going to be under number 7. If you are looking for tax information to do your FAFSA, you're going to request your 2015 record of account. So faxing a document. So this has been a big challenge. We know that this has been the easiest way for students to receive the information is to fax the information out. There are companies that will allow students to use their computer or sometimes even their phone as a fax machine. So I did find one. HelloFax will give you 5 free pages to fax. They're all encrypted with bank-grade security. So that would be one option, is to look at some of these companies that will let you duplicate your phone or your computer as a fax machine. Another option is to contact the public library to see if they offer these services. So I started researching a little bit. I know Seattle Public Library has public fax machines at several branches, and they will fax for $1 a page. Spokane Library has these services. I believe they're free. So different libraries will have these services at different costs. And then for job seekers, so if this is someone who's trying to get that information because they are seeking employment and going to school, WorkSource has fax machines as well as other great amenities at their centers, great resources for the community, but they do have fax machines for job seekers. We want to make sure that students, this is where they're going to get stuck, is faxing this out. They might fill out the form, but faxing it is going to be that challenge. We want to help them with that process. So navigating the verification process, if you were selected for verification, it's okay. If you have students who come in and are upset about this, it's okay. People are randomly selected for verification. They didn't do anything wrong, but we want to help them get through that process so they can get their financial aid award. We want to make sure students are prompt in their response to financial aid department requests for additional information. They're not going to request it multiple times for you. They want to make sure that they get that information in a timely fashion, but they're not going to hound students for it, so students need to be very proactive. Ask questions. Your financial aid officers are there to help you with the process. They don't want to see you not get your financial aid, but they do have to follow these rules to make sure that they are going through all the federal guidances, and they have to have that information before they can award out your funds, before they can give you an award letter. So if you're selected for verification, I know it can be a frustrating process, but your financial aid officers, they're there to help you. They want to see you be successful. So if you have questions, ask them. Also, then you're getting to know your financial aid office, and you're going to be using them every single year that you go to college. They are amazing resources for you. Make copies of all the documents that you submit. In most cases, these documents will not be returned to you. So it's nice to have a copy of these on your file for your own records. And make sure you start that process early. Do not procrastinate when you get your verification letter saying that you have to go through verification. Make sure you start that early on and follow the deadlines they've provided. Again, if you're struggling in the process, contact them earlier than later to let them know you're struggling with it so they can help you. So if students have questions about your awards, so maybe your award doesn't look like you thought it was, or you don't understand your award, or other situations, you want to contact that financial aid office, especially if family financial circumstances have declined since they filed the FAFSA or the WAFSA. So if someone has lost employment since 2015 and your income is not reflected accurately, you're going to want to talk to them about that. If the award offer is not affordable, so if the award is not enough to go to school and you're concerned about that, it's okay to ask them, are there any other resources? Ask your financial aid office, are there scholarships that I'm missing? Are there other funding sources I'm missing because I want to go to the school but I can't afford it right now? Sometimes it can be hard to get through to financial aid officers over the phone because they have thousands of students they're working with. So you want to make sure you're persistent. It's good to leave a message, but it's also good to follow up. And if you're close to the school that you're going to be attending, sometimes it's nice to set an appointment and go in, and that way you're meeting the financial aid office. Don't forget when you're working with students or yourself for financial aid that you want to apply for financial aid for every single year that you're going to be in college. So if you are a senior in high school right now, in October next year, you're going to be applying for your sophomore year of financial aid. And you'll be doing that October 1st, I'm hoping. I mean, I'm not saying you have to, get up at midnight on October 1st and start your FAFSA, but I'm saying it's a good weekend to be able to do that. So, maybe make a weekend of it and do your FAFSA that weekend. Make sure that you consider things like work-study awards, employment on campus and internship possibilities, because that will help make it more affordable. Like I said before, and I'll say it until I'm blue in the face, make sure you get to know your financial aid officers and your financial aid office staff. They are great people. I know that when I went to college, they were the people that kept me on track, let me know about different funding that was available, and were just very supportive in making sure that I had a good financial plan for my post-secondary education. Apply for other aid and scholarship programs whenever available, whenever possible. So the washboard.org is a great one, Unigo, there's a lot of scholarship websites. Also ask about foundation scholarships at the colleges you're going to be going to. And then also, when you're applying for financial aid and scholarships, it does take a lot of time. It's not the quickest process. So think about it as a part-time job. So when I went to college, I know every other weekend I applied for scholarships. And then every other weekend I had fun. But it made sure that I was utilizing all the resources available, and that's what got me through college. So think of it as a part-time job. It's not going to be easy. There's a lot of opportunities, but if you do not apply, then you're not going to get it. You're not going to get that scholarship. So I encourage students, apply for those scholarships. Be the person who applies. If you have questions, here's my contact information. Feel free to email me. I want to make sure that this process is easy for you guys to navigate. I know it can be frustrating when a tool that connects those two processes, the IRS and the FAFSA together, when that is down, that outage can create a lot of questions and frustration. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Also, there are resources on readysetgrad.org through our 12th year campaign to help you meet your FAFSA completion goals at your school. So if you have questions about the 12th year or the FAFSA Data Retrieval Tool outage or anything, please feel free to contact me. I just want to make sure that it's an easy process for you. Thank you so much for joining us. And like I said, we will get through this, but if you have questions, let us know.